All right, coaches, you're down by a couple of touchdowns. Now what? Stay tuned. All right, coaches, welcome back to the 92 Meshgroup channel. This is Coach Coulthard from North Carolina. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedules to check us out here at the Meshgroup. Today we're going to talk a little bit about, what to do when you have to come back in the air raid. And that's the great thing about being in the air raid, because really all you have to do is do what you do. Hey, listen, I really appreciate you guys subscribing to the channel. We're over 1,600 subscribers now. I'm really excited about it. The community continues to grow. And as the community grows, we're able to do more things. So if this channel is putting out content that you really like, I really appreciate it if you subscribe, and then click that bell down there right there so you know when we go live. Got some great things on the horizon in the Meshgroup, and we'll talk a little bit about that later on in the video. Also, if you'd like to have up-to-date information about certain things like Air Raid Nation and some other stuff we're going to talk about, down in the description is a link to join the squadron meeting room. Do that. That's gonna be kind of our new home of stuff. I'm gonna start posting on there a little bit more, and go check us out at our website 92meshgroup.com. All right, so the other day we were talking about what to do when we get behind, and I got an email from my buddy Shane Dular, and if you don't follow Shane, you need to. He's one of the best air raid coaches around. At Doobie Dular is his Twitter handle, and he also has a website, DularAirRaid.com, and I'll have that down in the description as well. But Shane is just a brilliant guy. He's worked with Coach Mummy and Coach Salas, and he has a really innovative way of thinking. He's a math teacher too, so that means he's a lot smarter than me. So he sent me like 7 things that he thinks about when he gets behind, and I told you guys I sent a message out, and I got some text messages back, and Coach Mummy and I talked for a few minutes, and he talked about playing the next play and doing some different things like that. Well, here's what Shane says. Shane says there's basically 7 things you got to do. And he's like, first thing you got to do when you get way behind in the air raid is you got to find a way to score a touchdown. I mean, he's like, score a touchdown, get a little bit of momentum built back up, and then the second thing he says, which was kind of weird, but it made sense to me when I thought about it. He's like, you have to slow down your tempo until you get 2 first downs. He's like, don't just try to go uber fast. He's like, when you're down, he said, get a couple first downs, get your confidence built back up, and then you can start speeding up the tempo again. And then the third thing he talks about is having a conversion chart. And those little point conversion charts we all have. It says when you're down by this much, you go for 2, this much for 1, and he just stresses the importance of not going for 2. And what I've done is I've taken the doc that Shane sent to me, and it's got a description on all these points, and actually put it in the members area. So if you're a member of the Total Air Raid system, go into Drive's resources, and you'll see Shane's list and his explanations for it, because he probably did a better job than I did. But he talks about having a good conversion chart that you trust, and then also having a handful of 2-point plays. And he brings up a good point, because a lot of us maybe don't practice this as much as we should. But he says you got to have 4 solid 2-point plays that you trust. He said because by the time you catch up, and then if you get into overtime, you may have to go for 2. And do you really want to have to win a game and you haven't ripped, from the 2 or 3 yard line? He said so. Try to come up with 4 or 5. And if you want to know what my favorite 2-point play is, I'll put a link in the description up here in the video. You can see I did a video about that. It's blue flip move, Y stick is my favorite one, and it always will be. And then the 5th thing he talks about is knowing your dudes. He's like, look, you got to know your dudes. Who are your dudes on your team? Who are your guys? Go to those guys right now, feature them in the comeback, and get it to them early, because as those dudes start making plays, the rest of your guys' confidence is going to boost, because they're like, yo, here we come. This guy's going to make a play. And then inevitably what happens is they overplay the dude, and some kid who has 2 catches on the year becomes a hero. I mean, we had a kid like that in college. We went down to play the Citadel, and the guy was a senior. He really didn't play a ton, but he got into the game, and he made the winning catch against the Citadel, and he's a legend at Appalachian State now just for that big win. That's the year we went 11-0, so that happens. Also know your kicker. What kind of leg does he have? Where is he good from? If he doesn't have a great leg, you might want to go ahead, and if you get down to the 12-yard line on his 4th down, let him go ahead and kick that field goal, and then go chase. If he's got a better leg, go for your touchdown early if you're down by 10. And then lastly, and probably the most important thing, he's like, smile. You gotta let your kids know that this is supposed to be fun. And I can't stress this enough. You know, as a young coach, I used to get upset and yell at officials and do all this other stuff. And then somebody told me, they said, you know, listen, how can you tell a kid to keep his composure if you lose yours? You're gonna be the first person they look at when times get rough. And if you lose control and you go crazy and all this other stuff, your team is gonna react in kind. And so it's very, very important. So Shane brings that up. He says, you know, hey, smile, let them know it's fun. You know, I'm that guy, you know, I can remember we were in the first round of playoffs and we had to stop the team on the goal line, you know, to win the game. And I go out there, call timeout on 4th down. I go out and I look at them and I tell a joke. I'm like, yo, ain't this funny? And they're looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, nah, man, this is great. This is what we live for. This is why we practice. We're gonna run this. We're gonna stop them. We're gonna run off the field and win. And we ran that. We stopped it. We ran off the field and won. Hey, it is what it is. But I wanted those guys to be relaxed, even though I was nervous as anybody has ever been at that moment. But I didn't want them to know that. And so that was really, really important. So, you know, these kind of 7 ideas of playing from behind are really good. Another thing that I would suggest, and this is something I got from Coach Salas, we always scripted overtime. We had a 4-play overtime script. You know, in North Carolina, you get 4 plays from the 10 in overtime, and so that's what we did. We had an overtime script. We knew what we were going to run if we got into overtime, so we weren't calling it off our hip, and the kids kind of knew what to expect too. So that overtime script might be something that I would throw in there on this deal. But like I said, hey, listen, I really appreciate you guys spending a little time with me. You know, we got some weather coming up this way. If you guys are in the path of this storm or affected by this storm, you know, stay safe and hope everybody makes it through okay. A couple other things. Just want to remind you guys, we have set the date. Air Raid Nation is going to be May the 8th. It's going to be May the 8th, and right now it's going to be in Fayetteville, but we're working on some other stuff. We may move it somewhere else, but right now it's going to be May the 8th, and I've already confirmed Coach Mummy is going to come, and we're going to bring in a lot of different guys this time. He's given me a lot of names of some coaches that he likes, that he wants to try to bring in. So we're going to try to bring in as many guys as we can, and we'll keep putting more information out. If you'd like to try to speak on Air Raid Nation, hey, listen, you know, there's a speaker application on the website at 92meshgroup.com. Just click on that, fill out the little application, and we'll review it and get back with you and try to make it possible to get as many guys on as possible. Let's see what else. We've added our new content this week. There's a couple of videos in there. There's a Chris Hatcher clinic that I had gotten my hands on a while back that I added up there, and another one from Coach Mummy, as well as Shane's list of what to do when to come back in the member section. So if you haven't done that and you're thinking about joining, our fall sale is on now. So we have 22 free 50% off coupons left. So if you haven't gotten yours yet, go ahead and do that. Use code fall sale 2019, and you'll get the total air raid system for half off, and that includes access to the middle school system. So really excited about that. Also, like I said, if you haven't signed up for our newsletter, you can do that on the webpage as well. And just you guys, I really appreciate you guys checking this out on the channel and hitting me up on Twitter at Coach Cotharp. I've met so many people, and it's just so great to grow the community because everybody knows we all want to spin it to win.